Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the finals of the season. This is going to be the final day of playoffs here for HGC Korea. Winner takes all. The winner of this best of five will advance to BlizzCon. My name is Wolf, and with me is Cliff. We're going to bring you coverage of this final day of HGC Korea.
Tempest has been waiting for this moment to see who's going to come up, and Mighty took the win against Blossom. Maybe we were going to see some upset, but Mighty just took that 3-0 clean game yesterday, and they seem very passive at the moment. Maybe both teams will still play passive because I think a lot is at stake. I think that's what's making them nervous, making them play passive, but we've got some words that Tempest will be having some changes, Wolf.
They will have some position swaps today. I've been told HGC will be playing Flex, which in this meta seems to mean healer. We will have Honkono playing tank, Lockdown playing solo laner, from what we are told. So they've had the longest time, obviously. They've had a whole week since their tiebreaker match with L5 to watch the players go up through the gauntlet. That's the advantage you have as first seed. They will also be able to choose first map or first ban. So going to this gauntlet, they're the highest seeded team. They're the favorites to go to BlizzCon 3 for 3 times where we had a top 3 team. They want to get that third slot, right? So there was Eastern Clash 1, they got the third place spot there. There was Eastern Clash 2, they got the third place spot there. They would like to be 3 for 3 in tonight's matches.
Yes, as the Korean meme, Tempest is also known as 3. Well, we have Kong, which is 2, but Tempest is filling in that 3. But after losing to L5 that quickly, they were dominated by a single support with burst damage, like lots of Sonya picks. From L5, they lost 0-3 last weekend in the tiebreak. I think that had to do something with the role changes. Do you think so?
Yeah, definitely it could be, because remember, Lockdown is a great Sonya player. He always has been. So we'll see if that comes into play. We got that music. I think someone just pressed the wrong button back there. But
it's our final day, so maybe there's having some surprise for us or something.
Sure.
I hope so.
It would be cool. It would certainly be exciting. I don't know if there is because it wasn't in rehearsal, so I'm like, I don't know. I would definitely be surprised myself. But we had a little button press back there. We're going to jump into the games shortly, of course. Tonight's the final night, so it probably was our graphic that shows like the progression of the teams here. Here it is. Yeah. All right, so Tempest versus Mighty, our final of the season. Sure, is it the final of a tournament? Is this Super League? No, but you can consider this to be the finals because the winner of this round will advance to HGC Finals, the BlizzCon tournament, as we like to call it. So it will be happening at BlizzCon.
Yep, and it's been a long time going through HGC, and this will be the last coverage of Korea for this year. And Tempest, Mighty, this can actually, lots of Korean casters are also thinking that this could go into all the way to 5 games, a full series. I wonder how aggressive Tempest will play, because from what we saw from Mighty, they were super passive, just having their favorites, having their advantages rolling around the macro. That's all they did against Blossom, which worked. But is it going to work against Tempest once more?
That's a good question, and I think the position swaps for Tempest could go either very well or very poorly. Everyone knows how I feel about that.
Yeah, it's a big risk, and
I think
you're not the biggest fan, of course.
I mean, when you look at top teams that have had great success, when you look at MVP Black, L5, Fnatic, Dignitas, these teams that are top tier teams, even the Chinese teams that were legendary in the past, E-Star, for example, even Braveheart going back to 2015, these teams do not switch positions 4 times throughout a season and then find themselves getting to where they got to. And now for Tempest, let's talk about this roster for a moment, because they have seen a lot of changes, right? We started off the season with Modern Life in the roster. He left after their performance at Eastern Clash. Going to part 2, he was replaced by HGC, the rookie player from Raven, who became a star solo laner on Artanis. Honkono has switched between tank and DPS several times, now playing support very often. You've got Lockdown, who's always been the most flexible player on the team, going back even to 2016 summer, where they took the title. And the only player on this roster who's been with the team forever and has never changed his role is Hyde. He is the leader of this team. He's the brains of the team. And even though he's one of the younger players, he is certainly the leader. And I think that he has to keep this team together tonight if they're not going to get upset by Mighty.
Yep, that I feel like that is true. The screen here, as you see, it is not updated to what the latest information that they have given to us. We may actually see H82's first support role coming up, but I do follow these changes because Lockdown used to play lots of Millie back in his old teams, and he's a great Sonya, as we know, as we have him on the screen. Honkono played lots of tank. He was known as one of the better tanks with, of course, Haymaker. That seemed to be the key for himself.
Yeah.
And Sign, he can flex in here and there as long as Hyde keeps his support. But I follow the 4. But if H82 goes onto a support role, I wonder how well he's going to do on that.
His first time in a year of pro gaming, I am worried about it. A lot of people don't remember back in the old times when Lockdown was actually on MVP Black. As you say, on his old team he played main tank. He was famed for his Tyrael play, his judgments, and the coordination that followed. So his Sonya play, famous in 2016. This guy can make the flex. We have seen him do it even with this new roster. And we'll see how they want to play positions. Their opponents, on the other side of things, went back to their normal roles. We had Magi on range flex, aka support. We had Joker go back to his incredible ETC plays. We saw good tank play out of him, BDG on the hyper carries, and Nasong made some incredible plays on the Rhaegar and the Kharazim. So this team is playing exactly to what it started to play this beginning of this year. Of course, with a minor roster swap of Good coming into the team. And, you know, I feel like when SDE left the team, we were worried about how well this roster would do this second part of Phase 2. And I think all those worries are gone. All the concerns are gone. This team has really impressed.
Especially when SDE was playing lots of mage, the meta shifted into, especially for Korea where we don't really see too many mages. Sometimes Gul'dan and no Limings at all. And BDG, all he had to do was pick up that Genji. He was falling behind the meta a little bit when he had Genji in his hand, just like yesterday what he showed. But what he could do, look at that. Of course, there's one loss, but with Vala and Genji, 4 wins. I'll take that.
3-0 yesterday as well, 2 Genjis, 1 Vala. So bringing Genji back into the meta. We saw some incredible support from Nasong, though. The Divine Shields to keep him alive. And a lot of those fights empowered those Dragon Blades to get the kills onto Morales, to get the kills onto the back line. So punish play was the name of the game for Mighty here. I think if you're playing against a roster of Tempest that has position swaps, the punish play can certainly be very powerful. So I think don't count this team out tonight, and with the position swaps of Tempest, we'll see how those go after Game 1. I think we'll have a better idea as to whether it's an improvement or perhaps a weakness going into this best of 5.
I think going into the match tonight between these two teams, because L5 really pushed in hard for what Tempest could show, and Tempest's weakness really showed last Sunday. And Mighty, even their play was not too perfect yesterday. So in terms of going into the matches tonight, I think both teams realize what they're good at, what the opponent's weak at. So depending on the draft and how it goes, if both sides goes into the comfort picks that has been going around in the Korean meta, if they go with the double support once more, maybe they'll try to counter it. Let's see. Well, we have the team records for now.
Yeah, 3-1 for both Part 1 and Part 2 of Season 2. And so Tempest will, of course, take the 3-1 both times. And it would be a realistic expectation for them to take a 3-1 tonight. And yet again, 3 for 3, be the third representative for international events with 3 seeds. Eastern Clash 1, 2, and of course BlizzCon. Not qualifying for mid-season brawl. It was L5 and MVP Black who went there. And so Mighty, can they go to their first international event? They've been around since the end of 2015. This team has seen so many rosters built by Kong and HGC long ago. Those members no longer a part of the team, as they, of course, play for RRR now. But the org stays the same. The core members are the same. And players like Joker want to finally taste that BlizzCon, you know, the feeling of being in front of that giant crowd. There were no offline events in Korea this year. They were just here online. No fans, not a single one. And to go to the next level, to get that feeling, that nostalgic feeling of playing in front of the crowd, that's what this team is fighting for tonight.
Yep, both teams want to get on that flight and go to BlizzCon. That's their goal. And as a pro, that should be your goal all the way. Here we have the most picked. As you can see, there will be some swaps from what we know from Tempest. Mighty, that feels like that's very old, except for Nasang, BDG, and Joker. BDG, of course, playing Genji, but Joker playing a very solid tank yesterday. I think he was the one holding the team together, really tanking the front and checking himself, not really dying as Morden all the time. So I think that's going to continue. If Honkono, because of the role swap, if he's not really able to position as well as Joker tonight, I think he will get punished a lot more.
Yeah, certainly so. I think a big factor of this draft will be the Uther. That is the most picked for both Nasong and, of course, Hyde. So very much empowering for the Genji play that has been rising. We have seen a few double DPS comps with the Genji, but it has been mostly hyper carry. It has been mostly those Dragon Blades that need to have the perfect Divine Shields, especially post 20, where you could see the Infinite Dragon Blade, which is just so annoying to deal with. Our map bans are Braxis for Tempest, BOE for Mighty.
BOE for Mighty seems a little tricky for me. Of course, Tempest, oftentimes when they took Vala, when Lockdown took Vala, actually became the weak link sometimes. So I don't know why exactly they banned BOE. Maybe they thought it could be a threat because they sometimes have a trouble with Martheo.
Could be. This map, by the way, is Infernal Shrines for game number 1. I know you guys can't read that, but this is going to be Infernal Shrines. We're going to see the commitment to Sonya and ETC early.
Lockdown Sonya, have not seen. It's been a long time since we saw Lockdown on Sonya. Let's see who will actually play. It may just still be H82 playing on that Sonya, you know.
I hope so, but I don't know. We were given other information.
And either Sign or Honkono's ETC, I trust both of them somewhat. So I think that's a good option. And Sonya has been a pick that has been countering, bringing the heavy damage against double support, and also a big reason why Tempest lost to L5 last weekend. So they learned their lesson, they put Sonya on top. I think this is a Korean-specific thing that may actually carry into BlizzCon.
Okay, global control now taken for Mighty. It will take Dahaka and Brightwing now. So again, taking that macro approach to the draft. The ETC going to be very powerful in the early game. The Sonya will be powerful versus Dahaka in the early game. So Mighty will need to try to gain extra leads and experience using the Dahaka Brightwing 1-1-1-3 split. Sorry, 1-1-3, not 1-1-1-3. That would be a 4-lane map, which would also give us a six-man team. But yeah, so Tempest now looking for that ban. Supports all available minus the Ariel and Morales. Uther is the obvious ban. I think if you really aren't planning on using him, the Karzian ban leads me to believe that Hyde wants to lock in the Uther. We could see some holy cows. There's a lot of opportunities with the Uther there. You just do not want to give, again, that Uther to Nasong. And in fact, they will ban it, so they have no plans to use the Uther.
We'll see. Mighty oftentimes was using the similar draft, approaching the exact same way, having Brightwing as a global phase shift, using the phase shift when Genji is about to go in and polying a single target to try to at least take some HP down. If luckily get a kill there, and I think that's what they're looking for. Along with Dahaka, they already have so much CC. Even ETC, when he power slides in, he can be stopped by the tongue or the poly. So ETC will be a lot less of a threat now.
Certainly, the poly is very annoying, but you know, we've seen incredible things out of both Honkono and Sign with the ETC, so wouldn't count him out just yet. Might be able to get in there, stun multiple members to get that mosh pit off, so for no interrupts. A lot of options here for DPS for Tempest now. They haven't selected a single support. They're trying to keep it hidden what their late game plan is, or sort of their later draft plan is in terms of DPS and support.
Maybe just Lucio Tyrael if they want to go to their old Tempest way, but this time not Furion.
And Karazim, so saving that ranged carry for last. And it's this comp is very much a composition that is going to require, I think, a pretty safe, highly hit-pointed ranged DPS like a Greymane, because there's no burst. Palm will be able to save whoever it is, but there's not a whole lot of options. It could be a Cassia comp as well. Not very strong against the Genji, though. Garrosh will be committed to here for Joker and Rhaegar.
So Mighty will have a very similar type of draft to start us off in game number 1 in Shrines compared to yesterday. What they have been playing well yesterday, let's just try the same thing and how it works against Tempest. Let's just get a feel how they can deal with what we did yesterday. If they have any answers, I think that's a question that the Mighty is asking against Tempest right now. But what is this last pick going to be?
Well, I mean,
something like Vala is an option, but I don't think it's going to be effective.
I don't think Vala works here. But let's talk about
Vala would die.
Well, let's talk about
easily.
what heroes exist, right? We have Vala, we have Greymane,
Lunara,
Tracer. You know, these heroes don't work with the support
Raynor.
pairing besides the Greymane, I think, in terms of like health pool and Malfurion slow healing over time. Malfurion works great with Sonya, but not so much to range DPS. Hammer, Raynor, these heroes I just don't think we will see. They certainly could try the Hammer, but it's a risk.
Tychus, a similar one. Terran in between Raynor and Sergeant Hammer.
Well, the Tychus is certainly going to have a decent health pool, and it is going to burn down the tanks, especially like the Garrosh as well. Will, you know, get the armor, but still, Tychus can burn through that very well. And it's just solo tank Garrosh. If they can break through that, Sony could do so much damage. Tychus will have a lot of range here, and he can clear the shrines very quickly. But this is already a very risky and unusual draft here from Tempest. They are not playing it safe. They are not playing it standard. As we go into our first game here against Mighty on Infernal Shrines, let's jump into game number 1. In blue, Tempest, Hyde on Malfurion, Honkono on Karazim, Lockdown on Sonya, Sign on ETC, and H82 on Tychus. So that swap in the soul laners, as we talked about.
And Mighty, Joker on Garrosh, BDG on Genji, Good on Dehaka, Nasang on Brightwing, Magi on Rhaegar.
So we have seen Tychus in the soul lane before, actually, only in Korea, but
few times when they needed a solo laner.
I don't think that's what's going to happen here. I think this is just Lockdown playing the Sonya, which is part of the reason why they were doing these role swaps in the first place, you would have to assume.
It is H82's very first Tychus.
Yes.
And see how he does. He oftentimes was melee, so on that range may not feel as comfortable, but the range with that nerf, I guess he's a little bit close to melee.
I was thinking the same thing. Okay, well, Honkono's already caught here. We'll have to dash away.
Other than that, it's about the same height on support, Honkono on Karazim, and the Sign on ETC.
Yeah, everything else is exactly the same, so...
This one I cannot argue other than H82. Let's just wait and see how well he does.
Yeah, I mean, we know we don't need to doubt Lockdown Sonya. That's what we can believe, that's what we can trust, but H82 we don't know yet. He hasn't proven himself one way or the other. So on the side of Mighty, their pick of Garrosh is very strong against the ETC, very strong against Sonya and the Karazim in terms of melee dive-ins. You can get punished in the early game by a toss. In the later parts of the game, though, he will definitely fall off in power because you won't have walls to toss heroes behind. Very much an early game hero in Korea, like ETC.
Tychus is a very good tool doing percent damage against the Garrosh. Here comes the Brightwing, hold on to it.
Oh, okay, Honkono's in trouble. Does get the second dash, that was close.
But H82 dives in and face checks on that. Now he's doing the damage onto Garrosh.
Okay, Joker gets low, but the armor will keep him alive. Ends up being a pretty even trade there.
Seems like he was thinking of something else at the moment.
That was definitely not the cleanest play I've ever seen from either teams. Well,
I was talking about Tychus when you try to do the percent damage against the armor when Garrosh has that, but because your range is so short, only 2.5 I believe, it's easy to catch with the Groundbreaker coming up from the Garrosh, and you will get tossed over the wall if you're not really cautious about your positioning or the cooldown of the Q and E available for Garrosh. So H82 needs to be careful.
Yeah. Now look at what is being done on the map here. It's a 1-1 split again for the Dehaka Brightwing while also invading the camp. They know Sonya can solo the shrine, but Tempest sent a lot of members up top, so they're actually going to try to control the map with their comp, which is what Mighty did yesterday in their match against Blossom. So Yet again, we're going to see this. Sign actually is getting committed to here. They have the poly. That's going to be a pick easily. So Sign gets taken out. They take the cap, and they gain an experience lead. Now, if they can reasonably defend this Punisher, which is only just the Mortar Punisher, then they will be in a great spot in terms of experience. So let's see if this can actually get much done to the fort. The wall very low on ammo currently.
Ooh, I like this Joker playing in the front because they would like to just do 3 damage, especially Sonya, because Joker can toss them over the wall. Did not actually get too much damage done.
So not only did they not even kill the wall, they got the gate down 1 cannon tower and got experience in both lanes. Again with the Brightwing Dahaka comp, the 1-1-3 split. The 3 defend the Punisher, the 1-1 defends experience gain, right? So they don't lose experience while defending. They could have always teleported in if need be with both heroes. So that's why they soak like that. They're very willing to give this up because, again, they're taking the more important camp at the moment. And I feel like what Tempest is doing is quite nice, but I feel like Mighty is getting more value out of these globals, and I don't know what Tempest needs to do in order to punish that, given the escapability of both the Brightwing and Dahaka too. You can't really collapse onto them and kill them in solo lanes. So maybe they just need to match those lanes faster so that they don't lose any experience themselves.
Let's see. Along with this game, I believe they are going to be pushing in. So Rehgar is looking for a chance to come down as Brightwing is the only one at the bottom lane not wave clear too well by herself. Genji comes down to clear the wave, so they want to go rotate and take it slow for now. Usually after taking the camps, after basically almost all the camps are taken, they try to focus in one lane, try to push in and gain some EXP. But this time they will take it, so seems like both teams are going passively and going around the map, trying to control the macro today.
Yeah. Very passive now is Tempest after clearing that top camp. They're going to take their own. And the Shrine here, what happens if Tempest loses it is very, very detrimental. If Mighty loses it, Mighty has less to lose, right? So I would not be surprised if Mighty again just soaks and lets the Shrine go, because they have less to lose. If Tempest takes the Shrine, they will get 10 around the same time as Mighty, or maybe even a little bit afterwards. If Mighty tries to get the Shrine right now pre-10 instead of soaking, they lose the soak, and they might not get 10 first as a result. So why not just split push? Dahaka clears top with Rehgar. Nasang split pushes here. They have Garrosh in mid. Okay, deflection here will save BDG. So they actually gain a lot of experience, and they can come into fight if 10 happens, so they could delay this a little bit, and if there is a window, they could try to steal it. I don't think they will, but the fact that they're going to have 10 on the defense will again be a boon for them. And then in the next Shrine, the next Punisher contest, they will have an advantage. They will have 10 first. They can use that advantage to try to win that fight. They'll have the tools they need to team fight that they don't have now.
And Mighty's playing this smart. They had it available in Elf. This is how L5 tried to deal with against when they were versing Tempest against the double support. They were using the rotation and power to punish what the team fight comp was designed for. And Tempest, when they tried to fight, notice how they always try to go for the fight and defend their own, try to get picks with CCs, but Mighty would just not fight and soak extra 2 lanes.
Yeah, look at this. Like I said, they get 10 first anyways, despite losing the Punisher because of the extra 2-lane soaking you just mentioned. And Tempest is going to have 10 now, but now finally Mighty has the tools to fight. Now, it's not going to be easy because they are going to have to use the Isolation, the Warlord's Challenge, and the Dragon Blade to get an initial pick. Malfurion is going to be that target very likely before he has Ice Block. After that, it'll probably shift to H82 on the Tychus. But once he has the Ice Block, it's going to be a little more difficult. But now Mighty has these tools to fight and contest Shrines, and they have the ability to flank with them. So we could see the flank coming through from a Dahaka, gets a grab, drops the Isolation. You can see the flank from the Brightwing, who drops a Polymorph or an Emerald Wind. These are tools that are great for engaging while soaking. They didn't have before, so there was no reason to commit those globals into the fight. Now, let's be honest, too. Tempest has incredible heroics. In fact, their comp is better at team fighting post-10 as well. They're going to have Odin, they're going to have Twilight Dream, and Moshpit is a huge game changer if those interrupts don't connect, as we were talking about. So This could certainly go either way, but I feel like Mighty had a tough time in the early game, but they used their globals to mitigate that. Now they're in a very even position, you could say.
Mighty would have to team fight sometime in this game, but because they know the tools against the other side, I believe also the reason why they picked Malfurion, because Mighty team competition is very divey. Against all the dive, if that Twilight Dream hits 2 or 3, especially Brightwing and Genji at the same time, Genji and Brightwing will just melt with the damage coming out from Tychus and Sonya along with Karazim stashes. And so Mighty will just not fight. Maybe we'll just not have a team fight until like 15 minutes into the game. They will just keep giving up Punisher. Of course, later ones, they will have to go and try to delay as much as possible or soak as much as possible onto the other lanes. But Tempest is still behind, as you can see, when they should be leading after 10.
Yeah, especially considering they had 2 Punishers to do damage. They didn't get either for it, though. And I think this is the Punisher that Mighty will fight for, because they're about to hit 13. They can use these globals to hit at an angle to win the fight. They're going to have a level advantage in terms of scaling. This will be the fight they commit to. This will be the one where Dragon Blades fly, and we see the Warlord's Challenge come through. Okay, here we go. Here's the teleport, and just like I was saying, this is when they're going to fight right after 13. Polymorph comes through here. We do see the grab onto Lockdown. Joker does drop that taunt down. HG2 is the target. Silence, though, will stop the Dragon Blade from getting the kill. Either way, though, this is already a 1 fight for Mighty.
And they have been using their tools to focus pretty much perfectly. Even Poly was used to delay Sonya, but the other focus was actually onto the bottom. They were trying to dive in, take out the support. Great Twilight Dream, actually. If that did not land on multiple targets, H82 would have died.
He would have died, certainly, yeah.
A lot worse, but here comes another team fight with the Odin now onto H82.
So Odin is committed to here. They save that. They also save Wrath of the Berserker. These can be tools that can be used in this fight. Poly committed here to ETC. It's on cooldown here. Could be a Mosh opportunity. They're just going to ward them out. So the fight was won for Mighty, but a lot of heroic save for Tempest meant that they actually were able to come and win the longer battle here to win this Punisher, because Mighty rotated in so late because they waited for 13. Ooh, this root is huge. He is going to taunt. 7-sided will not finish him off. But this is an Arcane Punisher. This is the strongest Punisher we've seen in the game yet. And Mighty's whole objective was to commit in and take this one. They failed. And now they're in trouble. Cleanse already used here, but it's not going to stop the second root.
He is rooted and signed, still holding in that Mosh, having that pressure. Mighty has to fall back, and they will lose the fort and some damage to keep wall, but I believe that's going to be it. So Tempest will not go overextend, because Mighty will likely to have their heroics back in a few times. So they will go rotate around, try to take down forts as much as possible.
They're looking for the double fort here. And they certainly may get it. They're on even talent tiers now. The Mosh threat still out there. The advantage in heroics that they had, because Mighty committed everything to that last fight, no longer exists. Ping's coming through from Genji. He's going to try to go for the flank here from behind. Dragon Blade's up in 2. But Tempest is going to get out just before this becomes a possibility. So BDG comes around, looks for the dismount here on the Lockdown, but he's not going to get anything further. In fact, they probably won't even be able to deny this neutral camp from being taken in the bot lane. But very well done by Tempest. Very passive win ahead. Uh-oh, look at this commitment here. Ancestral will have to be used.
And does connect onto Joker. That's a good thing. Joker almost fell right there with the percent damage landing.
This could be a toss. Does he have it? It doesn't look like it. Just might have wanted to toss into that keep, but just didn't have it. Was on cooldown, but very likely.
Compared to Berserker, Ancestral use from Mighty will be... They will not really try to fight if they don't have Ancestral like that, because a lot more, of course, big skill were used in that team fight.
And Tempest has better damage, right? Like, that's one of the big problems
So
here.
knowing that Sign is just going in, diving with the power slide just like that, even Poly has to be used.
Tossed him out there, not in. Didn't want him to be in position to mosh there. That was a good decision by Joker. It looked weird when you watch it like that, but that's definitely what he wanted to do.
But for in the pro level though, you know you've been falling behind in the beginning because you know you're up against double global. Mighty had pretty good macro rotation from the beginning, but after a fight, Tempest should be feeling, all right, that wasn't too bad. I mean, our team fight potential is huge. We knew it, but Mighty, even if they used all their tools, we didn't even have to use all our tools. Mosh Pit was still just there and not even used it. We won the team fight. Should be feeling pretty good, even though you're down in the XP a little bit.
Yeah. Tempest has the better team fighting comp, and Mighty's just trying to get enough of an EXP lead that it doesn't matter, but it's just simply not working at this stage. 16's around the corner, so they're going to have a talent tier advantage again for their teleport engage onto this. Notice Dahaka's going up top as well, so they're going to push double top here to then teleport in to try to win the flanking fight. They need an initial pick. Wrath used early here for lockdown. You can keep that going pretty much indefinitely. But they need that pick that they were unable to get onto HA2 last time. Uh-oh, it could be picked against them though. Joker, he's got a lot of armor, but he's going down very low.
That taunt was so big. Mosh pit was cancelled because of that, but Garrosh went down regardless. BDG may also, with last hunk hit coming from Honkono and this power slide, may actually guarantee another kill for Tempest. And Sonya is diving into the fort. They don't even care what the fort is hitting them.
Yep, they don't care at all. Cannon tower there as well. The sentry shot is not going to be enough to turn the tide. It's going to be a fort that goes with this. And simply put, there was too far out was Joker there. He was caught. Teleport came through from Brightwing, but it just did not matter. It was too late, too slow. No way to save him from the secondary roots. We've seen now 3 times in a row that when the cleanse is baited out, the root is placed perfectly afterwards. Hyde's roots have been so well done to get it right after the cleanse. So you see him come through, gets cleansed, and then immediately gets root right after because Hyde's root placement and understanding of the timing of cleanse has been so good. And that's what was the last nail in the coffin there yet again.
They're pressuring. I think their idea is to get the keep from minute 14. I know Dino Brightwing is up there and the camp will be pushing, so they want to go in and engage it. But Sonya is tossed, but cleansed.
Cleanse here coming out from Karazim. Okay, we are seeing this jump in yet again from the Punisher, this time onto Joker. Keep is actually still pretty healthy because they walk this Immortal in. Very well done actually against the Punisher here. It's a frozen Punisher too, so not the strongest one. Looks like they are just going to commit to the keep themselves though. Lockdown having that Wrath of the Berserker. Here's the commitment again onto Joker. Cleanse and Ancestral used here. He does survive for the time being. Lockdown's going in. 7-sided Dragon Blade comes out. The core is helping out against this Punisher, but not in the team fight.
And Odin doing free damage at the back line. He's free. The Haka goes down. I believe this will be a cluster game. That's a locking Mosh for game number 1. Seems like Tempest will just take this with 5 men pushing into the core. Along with the Punisher punches, they have enough damage.
Very much, I feel, struggling in terms of the rotations, but having the better team fights, having the more balanced composition. Tempest takes this Tychus pick, makes it worth it, and is able to understand when to take fights, when to punish the lanes. We wondered when they were going to commit, when the lanes were pushed, when they had the 1-1-3 split. They never committed to the Brightwing, they never committed to the Dahaka, knowing escapes would be there. They committed to the Garrosh and killed him twice there, nearly killing him 3 times, which gave them the lead, which gave them the opportunity to take these shrines. We saw moments of brilliance from Mighty. Their understanding of what the draft was meant to do was perfect. And they also had that one fight where they nearly got HG2 on the top shrine. Had they killed him, had that Twilight Dream not been perfect, as you said, could have been a totally different game. Could have been a win for Mighty, but that is not how it ended there in game 1.
Yeah, other than that timing on H82 where he got super low, had to be saved by a Twilight Dream coming out from Hyde. He was solid. He was doing the damage, and because they were able to lock down the front, the Garrosh especially they had to use Ancestral onto Garrosh even before the entire team fight happened. Joker may have been overextending a little bit, but it was a decision making. It was quick and done, focused with lots of CC from Tempest. So Joker and his teammate did not really have a good tool. Even after the cleanse, as you mentioned, Hyde was using the root right after the cleanse, so he could not escape. And when you're on the root, Tychus can basically use that minigun, just do free damage. Great execution of what they had in game number 1 coming up from Tempest.
Yeah, it was really impressive on both sides. It was a really close game, actually, and I think that in terms of drafting, maybe Mighty will take a little bit less of a global approach from now on, take more of a team fight-focused composition because Tempest dealt with their draft so well, consistently getting every single objective. And Soak can only get you so far. You use a Soak to get an advantage and win a fight, but if you get the Soak advantage but you can't win any of the fights because you're lacking in damage or Garrosh is getting picked, doesn't matter that you had the experience advantage all along. The experience is really just a number on top of the screen. What it means is important only if you can win those fights.
That's right.